So Consul General Dayan, thank you for taking a little time to talk with me. When you were speaking to us a little bit ago, you told a story of Napoleon. That was a wonderful story. Could you tell that again?
I was saying that today we are fasting. I'm fasting, and the Jews are fasting because the walls of Jerusalem were broken because they tore down the temple. And there is a famous story about Napoleon that once came to the Jewish quarter in Paris, and he saw all the Jews there crying and mourning and weeping, and he said, "Why all the Jews are crying?" And they told him, his aides told him, because the temple was destroyed. He said, "Oh, when did it happen?" He said, they told him 1800 years ago. So Napoleon said, if the Jews are crying about something that happened 1800 years ago, they will be back to Jerusalem.
Yes. And against all odds, on May 14th, 1948, Israel became a nation. And how many wars have happened? How many times has Israel been attacked since you officially became a nation?
Since this state of Israel was reestablished in 1948, Israel has fought 8 wars and endured thousands of terrorist attacks. This is the story of Israel, but I'm always saying that in between the wars, we never ever stopped dreaming about peace.
Yes. Do you believe that the regathering of the Jewish people into their homeland and their establishment as a nation is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy? And do you think most Jewish people living in Israel today would see it that way?
I believe it's a fulfillment of prophecy. I believe that we are destined to live there, and it's not by coincidence, as I mentioned, that we are thriving there. It's not by coincidence that we are flourishing there. Right. Israel is today stronger than ever. I do believe that God is standing with us, and we are in the promised land, the place that was promised to us. I mentioned that for thousands of years, if you look back throughout history, the only sovereign country there in the Holy Land was the Jewish state. Yeah. No other country, no other people was sovereign country in this place. And it tells a story. It definitely tells a very significant story. And we always have to remember that when we are celebrating our independence, it's not the 63rd independence, but it's 3,063 years. And I think, and you touched a point, I'm not sure that all the Israelis know that. Yeah. And when you know this story, and when you know this promise, it is much more difficult to uproot this promise and this story. And it makes us much stronger because we are not there in terms of history. 63 years ago, 63 years is nothing. You know, today we are here, tomorrow we are there, we are wondering. But if you tell your people, you are there for 3,063 years, right, from King David and all the very illustrious Jewish leaders, this is meaningful. And I think that this is a message that really should be taught again and again, yes, to the Israelis as well.
Yeah. Let's talk just for a moment about the Palestinian state. You know, people who may not have an understanding of what that is all about see the Palestinian people and they just want their own state alongside of Israel. But yet the perception is, often because of the way it's reported, that Israel is opposing this and won't give them this, when in reality, it's not so much a state next to a nation, but they don't even acknowledge the right of Israel to exist. Maybe you could describe from your perspective what that is all about, the Palestinian state, and is it really about just them having a state, or is there more to this?
As one who was involved a few times in the negotiations with the Palestinians, I often wondered whether we want a Palestinian state more than the Palestinians want their own state. Mm-hmm. People have to remember history. I mean, when we are speaking about history, when the UN decided about the partition resolution in 1947, November 1947, to a Jewish state and to an Arab state, the Arabs were the ones to reject this resolution, mm-hmm, and 6 Arab armies invaded into Israel, right, killing 1% of the population in Israel. It's as if 3 million Americans would die in a war, God forbid, tomorrow. When people are mentioning the 67 borders, what does it mean 60? Even in 67, there wasn't any Palestinian people.
Right.
Jordan controlled Jerusalem, and Jordan aligned with Egypt and Syria that attacked Israel in the 1967 war. So the Palestinians never had a war, never had a state. Nevertheless, we are willing to share the land and to have a Palestinian state. But the core problem, and this is something that Palestinians rejected again and again, and there was two Israeli prime ministers that they gave very generous offers.
Right.
The Palestinians never accepted the right of the state of Israel to exist as a Jewish state.
Right.
This is the core of the problem. The 1948 war produced many refugees,
Right.
Arab refugees, and even more Jewish refugees.
Right.
Those Jewish refugees came to the state of Israel, built themselves, and became leaders of the nation. The Arab refugees are second and third class citizens. And when they are speaking to us about any agreement, they speak about this claim of return in which refugees will be able to go back not to Palestine, to a future Palestine, but rather to the Jewish state.
Yeah.
And by that, taking advantage of the only democracy in the Middle East. This is
Right.
the only democracy in the Middle East. And by demographic numbers, they will take over democracy. And this is not accepting our right, the state of Israel, to exist as a Jewish state.
Do you think they ever will acknowledge the right of Israel to exist?
So far, I haven't seen any movement towards acknowledging the right of the state of Israel to exist. I think it really demands two things. One, a significant leader, which I don't see, and B, education. And I see the gaps in education between Jews and the Palestinians and the Arabs. But while we are teaching our kids to accept others, to live in peace, people are equal, they are teaching their kids to hate, not to accept Israel. As long as this is the case, no. The answer is no. We have to see a significant shift there.
Of course, the leader of Iran has said many times he wants to wipe Israel off the face of the map. He's made no secret about this, and he's even threatened to use his nuclear weaponry against the United States as well. So this is a man that will potentially have this ability. If the Arab Spring does not open up this opportunity you hope for, would you ever see Israel using a military solution? And is it even possible to take out the nuclear weapons of Iran if they get them?
In answering your question, I think that having a nuclear military Iran is unacceptable and should be unacceptable by everyone. And this is why all options should be on the table.
Sure.
Because if you look at the American report that was published in 2003, it was published, in 2009, the NIE report. They said that Iran stopped developing nuclear military capabilities only in 2003. And what happened in 2003? The US invaded Iraq, and Iran thought they are going to be next in line. So if it's not being accompanied with a credible threat, if you don't stop, all options are on the table and we are willing to act, they will not stop. So every sanction, and the sanctions are working, should be accompanied with the willingness to move forward if Iran continues, and they continue now. They take advantage of the chaos that exists in the Middle East, and underneath the radar screen, they are continuing developing the bomb, and we should be very alert, and we should be focusing on Iran, stopping Iran. So all options are on the table.
Well, you know, God made a promise to Abraham. He said, I'll bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. And I believe one of the reasons that God has blessed our country, the United States, has been because of our support of the nation Israel. So I want you to know, as representing a bunch of believers at Harvest Christian Fellowship, that Israel is in our prayers.
Thank you.
And we pray that God continues to bless your nation. And we know you are indeed God's chosen people. And that blessing has come back on us as well. So thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. And I feel that after 2,000 years, we are standing together. Israel is not alone. And we feel that we are stronger than ever. And I have no doubt that together we will prevail any challenge and any difficulty.
Thank you.
Thank you.